Welcome back. It's a gray day. The cloud cover, not the swirling cumulus thunderclouds or rain clouds above a tropical forest, but the hazy, gray, dirtied with smoke, that brownish haze of a major city. It's about midday. Let's put it to midday. As we hover around the grand city that is Waterdeep. It's been a while since we've seen it. And over the past couple of months, things have changed. And changed back again. While if we were to look at this as our adventurers return to Waterdeep, we would see the remnants in some of the wards of fires or burnt down buildings, vandalized churches and governmental edifices. But over the last couple of months, these troubles have died down. And the city just gone back to its habits. Sure, there are changes here and there, but people have sort of laid behind them the death curse. But some people have longer memories than others. We move to the north, to the northeast of the city, in the North Ward. And we, following up the high road, take a right at Dalzoran Street. And then just a little hook around into a small mercantile nook called Trollskull Alley. Here, the hustle and bustle of the smith, the greenhouse, we find ourselves in a very familiar place. At least these four. You, audience, unfortunately missed that part. We move towards a tavern. The front door mounted above with, well, the sculpture of a troll's head, as the original troll's head has been long moved away for sanitary reasons and replaced by a stone copy. There is a chime as we enter the door, and inside the bustle of music and chatter and all sorts of people jostling each other fills our senses. The smells of food cooking in the back, the surprise as seeing a platter just fly through the air, drinks on top of it. We are, in a way, welcomed with a nod, knowingly, by a tall gentleman of sort of elven countenance. Some might have heard his name, but never actually seen his face. This is Caleb. Currently, managing the bar in a full room. As we follow, but he sort of gestures to the side, and our attention is brought back to the platter, the floating platter. Upon it, there's, yes, as I mentioned, a large jug, a couple of glasses. Emmy, if you could show the jug for, in good company. Oh, you just put it away. Not a problem. No. Stay. Anyways, to your health. The jug, of course, smells of sweet, well, acrid a bit, tangy honey, as this is Tej. Imported. Apparently the tavern has some, well, they've got some ins and outs with regards to the import of this particular alcohol. And it's been quite popular. Exotic. Expensive. And easy to get drunk on. The platter moves towards the northwest of to a tiny nook. And as an invisible hand sort of moves about the curtain, we see 4 figures at a table, 4 familiar figures. And while we have taken a habit of seeing them in muddy clothing, unkempt faces and hair, they have now rediscovered this civilization and the use of grooming themselves. So, I would ask my players, Gale, you first. What do you look like?
Gale's wearing a large-legged pant, a tunic on top of it, quite simple, probably close to on the shoulder with the symbol of Valkyr, and just underneath it, a little patch representing the bronze sails. She's got her trident probably dropped in a corner, and her fairly short hair is tied together at the back of her head. Simple, comfortable.
Efficient.
Yes.
You've been peering over a map of the city, but specifically one part of the city. Situated just north of the bay, you've been looking at what is now nicknamed the Mist Quarter. Heinrich, what do you look like?
Probably coming back and listening to his mother to do her favor after being so long away. His hair is gonna be in a little man bun at the same time. He's going to use the glasses of before we went away from the dungeon. He is putting that on his eyes also.
The horned glasses. Okay.
The horn glasses. And he is going to wear a long highwayman coat, but in the colors of royal blue and silver. And a very comfortable tunic with what he usually would wear.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you would see like a little holster, and you would see some books here and there, and you would see Nugget crawling everywhere, and you would see him taking notes at the same time.
I think Nugget would sort of crawl out of your coat as the platter sort of clangs in the middle, and you see the jug sort of pouring the drink. 4 people, four glasses, though one might be just a bit bigger than the others. Vroon, how do you present yourself?
Vroon is still wearing the colors of the princess, but he now has there's a small tattoo added on his forehead of a maze.
Of course.
Hey yo.
You've sort of taken the much familiar drink into your hands, smelling of it. I mean, you're the one who brought it. But I think that you've been looking above this discussion maybe a bit less invested, right? This is a situation of local politics and building and administration. Because just as you had made your fortune with your part of the dragon's hoard that you had recovered, thanks to the Stone of Galore, there had been a debt contracted. And Sorsha, as you are reading through the document for the 15th or 17th time today, it has given to you four in recompense and recognition of what you did for the city and the world, in a sense, dominion over the Mistward. Sorsha, what do you look like?
Sorsha looks the same and very different from when she was in Waterdavian. Like, she's probably wearing a tunic dress, and while her attire before was a bit muted to be so she can merge and not catch any attention. Now her garment is simple yet shimmering. Like, she's not afraid of catching up attention. Not anymore.
As you had come back those 6 months ago, you had been immediately welcomed by men and women in green cloaks and silver pins. Harp-shaped, of course. The next few, while at first it was certainly a feast, right? What was his name again? You know
Mert?
who I mean. Mert.
Mert,
Yes.
Mert the moneylender.
The moneylender, the merciless, the old mercenary. I think that, well, I mean, you appeared in his home. That's where the teleport was to. And as the feast had gone through and you are asked 101 questions, you managed to answer maybe a few, or not answer a few others. But the interrogation is brutal as it is subtle, as through jokes, as through anecdotes, and as through maybe a tickle to your minds from here and there. The Harpers try to gain as much information as they can from your adventure.
What I will do, Harper,
Mhm.
of course, I will give to Mert the book of orders of the Red Mages that we had also.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, well, I'll give it to him directly. So like, well, those are. This will interest you very much for the Harper.
He had grabbed the book, skimmed through it, tossed it over his shoulder to an aide that catches it. Maybe sort of a half orc with sort of the half moon glasses, and he pours over it, and definitely there's going to be a little console on the corner with regards to that will be transmitted to who they need.
If Sorsha catches, like she probably does,
Mm-hmm.
the mind scraping, she shocks back and she surveils like everyone's mind, and she shocks back. US politely, please.
There is the incident is. I think you find maybe a young one of the younger men in the area, sort of maybe who had been sort of pondering a bit through different and sort of reddens up, apologizes profusely, and Murtis the first one to sort of laugh it off, and we move, and then it's moved on. He's charismatic enough to almost make you forget the incident, but you are sure to not see the young man again of the evening. But the biggest surprise, at least on your end, had been the fact that the woman that you had lent that money to had not only been one of the hidden lords of Waterdeep, but a fairly influential one. And had been discreetly moving in the shadows, in a sense, mostly to following Mirt's advances, to make sure that that northwestern part of the dock ward that had been abandoned for so long was to become your problem and not theirs. Nicknamed now the Mist Ward, due in part to the lingering fog over the bay in that particular area seeping into the housing, due to another one of your wards. Same word, different meaning. And actually, I think this is what, as we pour again around, we come back to the four around the table, this would be a moment where you are interrupted in your conversation. As a young man, maybe, and when I say young man, this is teen, maybe early teens. He looks about 13 or 14. A man, a boy, coming in, he's dressed in sort of fairly ordinary, sort of blacks and browns, well cut, but, nondescript. As opposed to his hair that seems to sort of almost stick to his head, very flattened haired, with sort of little rivulets in it, and copper shining eyes.
Serifiant?
He's been difficult to let go for the last couple of months, as he's been showing interest in walking among the city in his now new ability, his polymorphed form of a young human. Though he has a tendency of forgetting some of the details, and occasionally you'll see just a line of scales along the jawline, or forget to replace the eyebrows by actual hair. But as a changeling, you know a couple of tricks. You've learned that much. So, I think the others are coming in. Should I make them wait, or do you want to come and join us?
I think we've read that letter enough, don't you think?
By the way, did you think about my idea? Trying to see if we can get the weapons museum into.
I
Want
could.
new toys.
Gale starts laughing. I could have said it before you said it.
Right. I know.
We'll start with rebuilding so that we actually do have roofs over the heads of the people that will come there.
Fine. I'm just saying that there's that place in Coin Alley that could be perfect for it. I'm just saying, and I could look after it.
I'll see what we can do and convince the builders to actually build there.
Good. But seriously, they're there.
Let's go then.
All right, let's go.
As you
You coming?
open the curtain to the rest of the hall, there's the subtle enchantment upon the curtain that sort of lessened the noise sort of breaks, right? And all of a sudden you're back into the bustle and hustle of the tavern. People sort of cheering, especially as you come out. There is a cheer, and as you look about the room, what we would have seen as sort of anonymous or silhouettes or blurs in the background or whatnot, we start recognizing faces from season 1. Passerbys, families living next door. A pair of Genasi raising their glasses to you as Avi and Embrick have joined the party. An elven botanist in a corner, sitting, enjoying some herbal infusion, puts down their drink and sort of gets up and starts clapping. The last two to enter, and maybe the ones that were a bit late to come in, are a aging woodworker and his very much pregnant tiefling wife.
Oh.
That's gonna be interesting.
The field.
Sorry for the delay. Everything's fine. To which the tiefling woman sort of puts her hand on her husband and said, he called the healer for nothing. I assure you, I'm weeks away.
Well, take care of his poor heart. He's not 200 years anymore.
His heart? I'm the... Anyway. It's sort of... And she glowers around the... at anybody still sitting down as she just walks up to the nearest chair and claims it.
Yep.
These last 6 months, at least for the three of you, have been reconnecting with a day-to-day that you had forgotten. At least for you, Sorsha. While you've been sitting here in Charleskull Manor for a good while with your family, what's been going on with you, Vroon? You've only been here for a couple of days. So what's happened these last months?
Oh, he's been trying to he's gone back home and been telling his family about all his adventures, and then going like, isn't it fucked up that like we're walking around as pack animals around there? Like, just seeding some plants. Seeding some seeds of discontent.
Okay. What is your purpose there, specifically?
Oh, he wants to stop the whole thing of these people being looked down on as pack animals.
Hmm.
And he wants to get more people on board of his philosophy.
The philosophy had always been a way to, in a way, protect yourselves from the eyes of other civilizations.
Yes.
Whether it be, if it would have been the Omuans, the Omnians, or the princes. If they're like we see them, well, then there's no danger, right? But I think that, yes, your exploits, both in Waterdeep and in the jungles of Chult, and even in the Tomb of Annihilation itself, has spread to a younger generation, where all of a sudden, glory is a word on many lips. Anything else? There is maybe something to be, an occasion to be taken, with Omu being destroyed, the honor guard of Minotaurs blessed by I can't remember his name. I'm drinking his drink, but I can't remember his name. Uptau. If the Minotaurs had been beasts of Uptau and blessed to protect the regency of Omu, maybe another luck beast could take their place and find a new purpose for themselves, rather than just hiding away on a misty island. First night of Omu. Might want to recruit a couple. The same way, Gale, you've been here for, I think a full week. Come in with the last big tide on a ship that, well, you know you'll be stepping back on in a week or so. How's been your time away from these shores?
Yeah, it was basically getting home. A very much needed home. As with the adventures, the realization and self-discoveries that Omu and the tomb brought, Gil had a very deep need of reconnecting not only with her element, but also with her teacher, with the sea, with the open air.
Of the many exploits that you had... sorry, you were about to say something. Did I interrupt?
No, go ahead.
Of the many exploits that you had accomplished throughout your journeys on Chult, one seems to ring in peculiar to your old mentor. That one moment where you called upon Valkyr, and instead of just arming you or helping you, he lent a hand directly. The fact that you were able to call on his favor and him to answer in such a way has made you something very peculiar in a church that the god does not really look into. You are a voice of Vulcar, something all the more rare. But there's no hierarchy. And so for all that accomplishment, a glass of rum raised in your honor, and the night shift.
Yep.
No.
And Gil is not looking for honors anyways. She wouldn't know what to do with it. But having the Mistward being given to the Trollskull crew means that a little idea is growing. in the midst of the mists made of it being a dragon's den, there might be some space for a little altar. A building on the ground.
Well, let's make sure that that one's a little bit above water, right? I remember a hangar half above water where your first miracle, where you spoke to that giant fish. That might be a good spot for an altar. Somewhere where both those with sea legs and land legs might meet. But you mentioned, the mist ward being given to the group, but it is one person's signature that is actually on the paperwork.
Yeah, right.
Because he was the only one there. Hey, Thunderstaff? What have you been up to for this past 6 months?
Bothering everyone with sending spells, telling them how much I miss them, telling Vroon that he needs to look at certain books that paid 322 of that arcane subject to be sure that he can understand certain sigils that were in that place of Omu or in other places. Gale, I would probably bother a lot, like, hey, if you need help or items, don't hesitate to contact the Thunderstaff, like little advertisement.
If you're... I mean, that's something you probably got a message from one of the captains of the Bronze Sails at some point going, so the Thunderstaff are offering an open communication in the fair exchange market.
Mom!
I'll call the accountants, dear.
I would have worked on the Jakuri skins to make personalized items for each of the other members of the group. That means I have been arcane crafting.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I've been sending messages to Sorsha also to ask for updates, seeing how she's doing.
You can add one craft to the list because she would have been pestering you about that.
And I would have ignored it with all the pleasure.
Add a fucking mind shield to that ring.
What? What?
She would have come.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Sorry. Oh, yeah.
No.
Yes, mother, of course.
She would have cut you in face and said, "You are the future lord. You can't be a target." Add that fucking spell, please, for the love of me.
And I'm pretty sure that while you are convincing of Heinrich might have fallen on plugged ears, a word to his mother is quick to get the results.
Yes, but she's doing it in person just to be fair. Because
if the GM permits me, because of course a lot of time passed and Heinrich would have taken time to have written some new spells in his book also. There is a moment you would see a little head pop out of a second Heinrich, who is going to be like, don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay.
Simulacrum?
Exactly.
Yeah. One simulacrum
and she's gonna read your mind to be sure.
I don't think that you ever managed to truly
Yeah, and you
deceive
can't lie to me.
Sorsha.
Yeah.
Yeah. As she would just come up and say, "Are you the simulacrum?" And you would blutter yes. Not understanding why. This woman has a power over you, and you've let it happen.
After that, I think I would spoil Anna Thunderstaff the hell out of it for giving her lots of gifts. Giving, for example, an undead parrot, for example, from the Dungeons of Omu. Like, here, I have something for you.
Right. You've had that in your pocket.
I would have secretly sold the dungeon plans of the Tomb of Annihilation to Blackstaff to say like, hey, I have some interesting things that we can maybe arrange something.
Mm-hmm.
And after that,
So
I think
Blackstaff, not the Temple of Gond?
no, I don't.
What? No.
No, I still don't like them. I accepted them, but I still don't like them. They're ruining business. It's not my fault. And after that, I think anything what my mother and father would give me for the coming months, I would wear my colors. I would go to galas, to anything what they wish for. I would listen to them. And even my mother is asking like, "Are you okay? Are you having a fever? Normally you would have some resistance or something," and I would like, "No, I'll come with you." And I would also force at least once a week a family moment of going to the theater together, going out to eat together, but really having that feeling of like, I want to be with my family and doing something together. And at the latest months, also helping teaching the School of Thunderstaff, also motivating children to find new paths of magic. And if they have a spark of interest in a magic, try to explore that at the same time.
I have a question. Would you have invited Sorsha to the galas or not?
I think there's a moment way in the beginning, Heinrich would just have put 3 black little marbles in your hand and would just have said very calmly, "Why did you throw actually a marble away, Sorsha?"
No one deserved to be doomed for eternity.
Yeah, but again, you have taken a decision yourself without asking us for an opinion.
We were in a rush.
Yes, of course.
Actually,
And after that,
you would have only have 2 marbles.
yeah, 2 marbles because I'm losing my marbles. Haha.
Well, no,
And we were running at that moment. I might recall you. We were
Yes,
running.
but you took the time to write a message down, and you took the time to throw a marble away. But that's water under the bridge. And
And you saw everything that I did, and knew everything that I did. It was not hidden.
Mm-hmm.
At any point.
Mm-hmm. Something that I would have wanted to take a notation to. But Heinrich would have invited sometime to a gala or two. But
Okay, is there something you want to tell me?
there is nothing to tell.
And unfortunately, since he's been wearing that pendant of his, you haven't been able to prod his mind either.
She's not. She's just checking, but she's not. She's never been intruding in anyone's mind.
Well, if you haven't been intruding, I do feel that I'm thinking that Lady Thunderstaff might have noticed something and has been. Whenever Heinrich would have forgotten to invite you, you would have been there anyways. Made aware and invited in one form or another. And when I say form, I'm talking about form. Speaking of which, Heinrich, if you may, if we move on.
Of course.
Sorsha, these last months have been for you the most immobile in a sense. Staying here at Charlescall Manor while the others have either gone by ship, stayed in Mist, or moved into their family home, you find yourself the warden of this place, this tavern, which is now mostly settled in by your people. And at some point, you just figured that that blue lamp above the room, it just needs to come down because it's just blue.
It's green, but yes.
It
Sure.
aged.
The chemicals reacted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How dare you contradict the GM on this?
It's a green flame lantern. I can't help it.
Anyways, moving on. The tavern itself has been, with their help and their contacts, has been now sort of a center of intelligence for much of the city. And you found that your kin have discovered themselves with a purpose, in a sense. Most of them have willingly joined Force Grey, or at least rejoined once the state of emergency had been lifted. And the Black Staff has been keeping them occupied with games, training their own agents to find, amidst the city of thousands, one particular face or silhouette. These games of hide and seek has heightened the control that Vajra Safar has over the intelligence networks in Waterdeep. And you would know that the inhabitants are safer for it, as long as she keeps on the right side of alignment. You are asked to keep on the down low the fact that your little gazer is actually named after the ruler of the city. But in time, you are told that Silverhand has accepted it as a form of flattery. An homage of sorts. What else have you been keeping yourself occupied with these last months?
Well, a lot of. So tell me about everything, and there's probably a lot to be told. She
Have you
will, however, keep Caleb for last, hardly acknowledging him at first. Remember, last time she reached for Caleb, she said, I know everything. Well, no, it was not. I know about the djinn.
It took maybe a week, couple of weeks into your return where Caleb even dared sort of breach the subject, going along the lines of turning around the subject, seeing how you were doing, what your adventures were, talking about the hustle and bustle during the times of trouble, how that one member of yours was assassinated in place of the person they were protecting. The 2 months of the death curse were difficult. It was a time where the whole city was on the brink of revolution or coup. It showed how precocious the balance in the city was as to resurrection. Whereas a lot of the hidden lords, often adventurers or people who had lived long enough to gather the influence necessary for their position, found themselves crippled by the curse. Most of them saved by a healthy amount of regenerative potions, spells, and rings. But some were lost. Definitely. As the turmoil calmed down, in part due to your kin disassembling meticulously the Zentarum, as well as infiltrating the Xanathar's Guild, have pushed those two factions below ground. And if you hear about them today, it's quite often about chance meetings from the adventurers who have decided to reopen the tomb of the dungeon of the Mad Mage, and exploratory expeditions there. There's rumor about a new threat coming from a defunct house of Mezerbenzeran. Dark elves moving towards the surface. That's another issue, another day. What's interesting, though, is as you delved into... I guess you would have gone after him, wouldn't you? The Djinn, the Crystal King.
Not before having a discussion with...
Let's have that discussion, shall we?
Okay.
Caleb has just mentioned this about intelligence coming in from Skullport. A couple of contacts he's got there. Saying, not exactly sure where this particular family has decided to interest itself in the third level, but yeah, they're moving all the other inhabitants out.
Huh.
You don't seem... What's on your mind?
I think while we are talking about intelligence, that you kept a few from me.
I mean, yes. And while this is maybe a place where I would place a joke about hiding you my special recipes, I'm pretty sure that I know what you're talking about. But I would rather we not name him here.
Oh, but how about we name my mother? Can we name her? Ashlyn. Do you remember her?
Don't. Of course I
Don't
remember her.
what?
But do not. This is why I have not told you. This is why I had to keep some things, especially the names of those involved. He can see through us.
Yeah.
He can see through you.
You made me make a freaking warlock pact without my knowledge of being him. So your lessons about him seeing, yes, well, he gets in my freaking head.
I thought the ring was an exception. when she gave you the ring, things happened so fast. I know you remember those days. Actually, let's put this one here. Yeah. I know you remember running through Skullport. I know that. I've heard you shout out when you were young. I've seen the shifts as you struggled in those nightmares. Look, it was not easy for you, nor was it easy for any one of us. As she had been chosen, you see. She had been... Look, you know your lore, you know your stories. Jinn, Ifriti, Marids, they collect. Some gold, others slaves, but this one is different. He collects knowledge, but not books or scrolls, no, memories. He used us. He would breed our kind and throw them out into the world to infiltrate, to explore, so that he would bring us back. We would be part of his library. And he has been doing that for centuries.
Why would he claim that my mother is staying willingly there? Is there some truth about that?
Anyone coerced is doing it in their own will, in a sense. It's a play on words. The Jinn are fickle that way. But every time you say her name, he hears it. Every time you say his name, he will hear it. That ring... Look, most likely the worst mistake I've ever done in my life. If I had known that that was his way in, I would have taken it and I would have... But it hid you.
Well, without it, he would have full access at some point, so it is not your mistake. It was a choice with consequence. We all make choices with consequence. But you took your sweet time to explain this to me. I'm a grown adult. Do you realize that?
Sure. Fine. And yet... Look, there's so many things. You understand that we were not just running. We were running to somewhere. And to be honest, I didn't trust myself to tell anyone.
I understand that.
And he points to... At this point, I would think that the green flame is still up in the tavern. And he points at it and he says, how many times has that light shone from one that were not our own? He knows where we are. Because we couldn't get far. This... All of us, all of your kin here, we are linked to him in some way. Nothing would have pleased me more to run to Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter, or even beyond. But we can't.
Well,
The walls of this city are our domain, whether we like it or not.
I see a solution. Years of hiding, fleeing, have taught me one thing. I'm done running. It's time to get back.
Yeah.
I will face things. You'll have no obligations to go with me, but I will go. I will get my answers. I will fight for them. I don't care. And I don't forgive you because there's nothing to forgive. Like I said, we all make choices with consequences. Sometimes people call that mistakes. It's fine.
Look. We both know that if you go after him now, as it is, he's going to see you coming.
Probably.
And he hasn't lived this long without being prudent. I've seen your companions, and that was before your adventures. From what you're telling me, what's that guy's name? A Sararak? You're pretty sure that the king knows about what happened then. So, I want you to forget about any plan for now. Make me a perception check.
Sure thing. Oh, that was a bad roll.
That was a bad roll.
Yes, that was a bad roll.
Okay. I want you to forget any plan for now. Don't go for it. Stay here. Consolidate. You've got work to do, and you've got, the boy to work on. As he winks.
You promised me to not go without me?
Yeah. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, then. Done.
Okay. We move back, the memory sort of shimmering. Back to the main room. You okay, Yen? Yen, you doing okay?
You're muted, by the way.
You can't hear us? Okay, you good?
And we don't hear you.
Okay, I think we lost Vroon.
Yeah, he tried to speak, but we didn't hear anything.
Okay. Well, let's wait till he comes back. Just give us just a minute. Shouldn't be long, at least for you. Right! Here we go again. So, let's move back into the tavern. There you go. So, as you... The moment is boisterous. As this has been one of your bi-weekly traditions, I guess, to just gather the entirety of the artisans, the merchants, the people close by to the tavern, and the fact that two of the most irregulars of the owners are in the room means that this is extra festive. The Gale, I think that you are immediately accosted by Avi and Embrick as they start asking you questions about what you might have seen, talking about, long away places that they would regret in a sense. Well, half regret. The same way I think that the woodworker and his wife would have a tendency to turn towards the bard, who've maybe they've asked to be the godchild, the godmother, godparent to their child, as
Yes!
to quote the tiefling, "You're responsible, so they're your responsibility."
There? How many are there?
Just one, but they've
Oh.
specifically asked that the divination wizard or medicant not reveal the gender or sex of the child. Or even if that child has a tail.
Be careful what you wish for, but hey, they will have the most amazing godmother.
At least.
Oh, by the way, I brought souvenirs for each and every one of the neighbors. I even have one for the Lady Silverhand, which is a feather of the T-Rex, the undead T-Rex. In recall for the feather, with pettiness, she lent it to us because after we had to remind her that it had to be a gift.
Right.
Yes! It's still a unique gift, beautiful
True.
and everything, but
There's just that hint of
Sorsha being Sorsha.
Sorsha pettiness that we wouldn't expect any other way.
So, yes, let's hear about these gifts.
For our couples, Ember and Embrick, it would be weapons. Like probably, if Rune was okay with us to keep them, a couple of the artifact of the gods, which is empty now.
They've all disappeared. Yeah.
Yes, disappeared or just empty.
No, they've disintegrated. They did not survive the exit. None of the objects containing the gods. As far as you understand, the gods are still trapped down there.
Okay, but there were the objects of power, and there were a secondary object without power each time.
Every time there was it was a piece of the god and the magical item, and the magical items have all disappeared.
Yes, and the piece of the gods.
You never took them up because they would curse you if you touched them.
But we never touched anything.
No, unfortunately, with regards to the old gods of Omu, you did not manage to recover anything.
Okay,
but you've recovered plenty of other things.
A couple weapons and everything. So
oh yeah, definitely.
Those would be gifted to.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
to
not
those
to
ones.
mention any teeth or any exotic materials that you would have brought back. Definitely would have made great gifts for these two. Yeah.
Yep. I have a jade crocodile key that would be gifted to our shapeshifter detective
Okay.
because precious silver gem and a key to a rare dungeon. I think he will like it. For do I have again?
Going through the whole thing.
The jewel box would be for I forgot her name, which is the tiefling. She has an amazing name.
Oh,
about it.
yes,
What
it's
was her
not
name?
vengeance. It's something along, but it's something along those lines.
Yes, I forgot about.
Yeah, Tali's wife. Yes.
Yeah, for them it would be the jewels box with some seeds in it
Mm-hmm.
from Port Nyanzaru. Poison from Port Nyanzaru for our gardener.
For Fala Le Falier. Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. As they look upon the gift, there's a very sort of clean raised eyebrow going, "Oh, should I take this as a message?"
Well, the best cures are born from the deadliest poisons.
Mm-hmm.
Duality. I thought it was fitting.
There's an eye roll, but a sigh of acceptance of Actually, as we were talking about Vincent Trench, our investigator, he would have most likely noticed your glasses, Heinrich,
Yes.
and would have. May I have a look at those?
But of course.
In a gesture, very much very sort of keeping an eye on you and to the other side, very noir kind of examination, as he brings it up and says, "Huh. You might want to visit the third quarter in Sigil if you ever make it there. Look for the red door."
I'll take note, thank you.
Cryptic as always. And any other question would just say, I don't know what you're talking about. Anything else? Anyone else?
The nut. We did not do the black staff.
True.
I don't know if there's something to it.
I would think that in this moment there's a let's bring her into the party. Let's invite Vaja Safar. Her appearance is, as always, one without flair. She wasn't there a moment ago. There's barely a blip of pressure in the air, and she's just there among the crowd. It takes maybe a minute or two before people actually realize that they were standing right next to her. She's decided to, well, I mean, she can't separate from the staff, right? So that's pretty much how you recognize her in the crowd. That singular black staff. Just there in the middle of all of these people who have no magical powers, for the most of them. But she is, as you might know, a fairly common sight here at Trollskull Manor. And so it doesn't change much for most people. Shakes a couple of hands, nods, makes a couple of promises that impossible to keep. Some people just don't know the what limits of magic. Or maybe it would be possible. She'll have to think on that. Maybe get her bursar on it. Anyways, that's at the back of the mind. She comes towards the four of you. It is good to see the four of you reunited. You made a formidable force. Here as well as abroad. So.
Yeah, we're good home.
Does this mean that another adventure is brewing? I haven't heard anything on my end. But I do not believe in coincidences either.
I don't expect any adventure right now. No, this is a family reunion.
I can agree with that. A family reunion.
Yeah, plus saving the world, you know. Overrated.
But
Not every 6 months, at least.
Yeah.
There's a wave of her hand as, again, that floating ghost propelled platter with the drinks, as she just grabs one of the glasses off the platter, comes into her hand, and you can distinctly see as the reddish liquid, the wine that was in the bottle, goes down and the one in the glass goes up. I will drink to that. And I've never... And I would have you believe that no family reunion is not an adventure. With its traps, its adversaries, and sometimes allies.
Well said.
But I do not believe that you four are ready to retire.
time will only tell.
Oh, well, I know.
Do you?
Yes, I'm here for a short period of time. The brown sails need me.
That I've heard some rumblings. Anything I can do to help? Is there a hand I may lend you?
Thank you for your very kind suggestion. I will pass it on to the ones with the actual knowledge and information about this
She
situation.
puts her hand on your shoulder and says, Gale, my dear, I lend hands to those who have helped me or I see useful in helping. If anyone is to make a demand of the Black Staff of Waterdeep, it is you, not yours. And she says that with a smile. This is not, this is her telling you that she's invested in you, not your allies, because she wants to see you succeed. My favor goes to you for what you have done here and abroad. I know the sales do good, but if I went to them, it would be of a mercantile relationship. You understand that?
Yes. Well, I will ask and come back to you.
Of course. And how about you, Vroondomon? How have you found your return to our city?
It has changed much, but very little.
Yes, that is why the city is so old. But you have definitely left your mark. I've still been getting angry letters from Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
I'm pleased.
but they've had their other issues currently. I've been told that while the city has come back, at least, well, Elturel has come back. The niece, Raven Guard, well, she's ambitious and might be looking into consolidating her power. The one that you made her lose in Chult, she wishes to enact here on the Sword Coast. So, but that is no longer your issue. We will deal with them in time. Might actually maybe use some of your assets, Gale. Or even... Hello? Have we frozen? Oh, for goodness sake. Here we go again. See you in a moment. I think this... Right. Hopefully we are okay for the end of this episode.
Yep.
Clearly, somewhere Discord and whatnot are telling us, get to the end of it! But how does one finish an adventure? That's for a podcast. Yes. The conversation with Vajra so far continues about, well, again, pushing you to... Well, accepting a soft recruitment, in a sense. Each and one of you. Adding to her network, and literally offering you sometimes a job.
I mean, Gil's gonna push the bronze sails. If that means that I can get back at Flaming Fist, oh yeah, I'll take that chance.
That, by the way, that potential lucrative business with the princes, or with the merchant princes of Port Nianzaro to sort of clean up the pirates around the area, never went to the bronze sails. No. Unfortunately, now Port Nianzaro and the surrounding area are under the protection of the Zentarum. Who are currently trying to push into the jungle to maybe sort of take control of, or to trying to influence at least the new queen, but she has a few counselors that can literally read minds. So, I mean, one counselor.
She's not poorly equipped.
No. But it is mentioned that, it's, from what you've heard, it is mentioned that one of the counselors, especially when dealing with the Zentarum, presents himself as an older man, local Chaltian, but always seems to carry a glowing lantern at his belt.
I didn't get that.
It was your friend.
Oh! Sorry.
Exactly, he got out.
Nice.
Hmm.
At least he's useful.
Sure.
Until,
I know you don't like my kinds.
up until the day where all of a sudden the queen has a lantern by her side, personal gift. But we move on. As more and more people sort of come in, you start seeing Mert appear. Again, making his way, though as you had met him coming back from your adventures, he had lost an immense amount of weight. He took no issue at all at putting it back on and a couple of extra pounds as well. And so currently he is sort of joyfully belly bashing his way through the crowd up to you. And you know, sort of there's a witty repartee that starts between him and Vajra Safar. Of course. You can see the one figure sort of move in, and you're pretty sure that would have alerted. Well, I think Vajra's head does turn. As a rare sight outside of the Thunderstaff mansion is a tall, white-haired, pale elf. Maybe half a head taller than most people. With, following closely, a smaller little bundle of thunder. As your sister, Heinrich, joins. She's just turned 16. Maybe a week or two ago. And is very excited about her real debutante ball. The last one was just practice, you see.
Of course.
And the new season of that's coming forward. And she's there in a dress that has no place in a tavern like this. But she just wants to show it off.
I think I would even offer like a little sip of Tesh also. Like, you're old enough now. Here, take a little sip. And I would present her to everyone, brag about, and of course any questions that Anna would have, I would answer. Not paying attention to who is next to me or is listening in at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And give a nod to the escort of dear Anna also at the same time.
Caleb sort of calls out from behind the counter, Vroondomon! Look, come and check this, please. It's your recipe.
Very well.
Come on, he's a guest. Don't make him work when he's a guest.
Oh, it's
Look,
okay.
we all know that whenever I try it, he's not happy about it. So he's going to be the judge of it.
Fair.
Right. And he sort of turns to the rest of the group. Right. So, if any of you need it, we've got anti-acid tablets to the side. Don't wait for it to burn through you. You will regret it tomorrow. Don't be brave.
And don't throw it on the carpet.
There are limits to mending. We move a bit later in the evening, where Vroondomon's traditional dish sort of comes out, is served to meals. People, some tables enjoy it, others it becomes almost a dare to take another spoon. But yes, the evening grows late, and I think that as we find once again the four of you seated at a table, the rest of the noise sort of dims so that we can just concentrate on you four. Seated at a table, with Nugget playing around, jumping between your hands, Sorsha, we find ourselves a familiar portrait, in a sense. But one thing, dear listeners, I will add one thing, one little tidbit. As another pot is brought down by Vroon wearing those big oven mitts that we've seen.
The dinosaur mitts.
Yeah, the dinosaur mitts.
Yeah.
And as you are sort of playing with Heinrich's familiar, Sorsha, you hear a whisper. Remember, it's now. And there's a moment where your eyes almost roll back as something in your memory unlocks to a conversation with Caleb 2, 3, 4, 6 months ago. A conversation that had been cut from your mind, where a very bad perception check prevented you from noticing lost time. But there, right there in the moment, the conversation comes back. A promise from him and your kin to hunt down the Crystal King. But without your knowledge, without his knowledge, pushing ever deeper past Skullport and his mansion that he abandoned, further into the Underdark. But if you have unlocked this memory, it can mean only one thing. He's been found.
He's been without.
But that is another adventure. And we close on that note this chapter, this book of Mysteries and Monsters, Tomb of Annihilation. Thank you for playing, and thank you for watching. I am not going to keep these four awake more, unless you guys want to still chat about the adventure with people watching, or we just want to keep that to ourselves. You tell me.
I had a question for Heinrich.
Oh. I will allow it.
Sure.
So, let's say at some point, Sorsha asks you, did you realize what were the only thing that got me mad?
I don't know.
It was you putting yourself in a life or death situation that I maybe couldn't help with. Only those times.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I called it reckless actions, but it was just. How could I tell you with other words?
Well, a Thunderstaff is also known for taking risks and to be reckless, you know? But I truly appreciate that you were concerned for me.
My point is, if you have to risk your life, call me before.
And somewhere nearby, Tally turns to his wife and says, "Tell me I wasn't that thick."
I will be the godmother of your children. You behave.
Gale's probably at her third or fourth beer and just goes.
I think one of the last things that to finish is that I will raise a glass to each of one of you and say with a very calm voice, may the mist ward grow with good intentions, and may each one of our dreams grow with time. And hopeful we will see each other for a very long time, each other. And by the way, I'm not thick, okay?
Now, I'm fully expecting to be interrupted again because all my goodbyes come in threes. And this is the second one.
Wait, let me interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Go on.
This is like a Marvel film. We get 2 credit scenes. Come on.
No.
No?
Go on.
Ah. Okay. No. I will say this. This campaign started in 2020 amidst the pandemic. It was a crapshoot. My wife and I, lovely Emmeline, picking up 3 people who did not know each other, that we had met in completely different circumstances.
Actually.
There you go. That's the third.
Actually,
We LARP together.
Yes.
We did not know you from
No.
the
I didn't know you.
Same circles.
same circle. Yeah.
Yeah. Same circles.
You see what I had to deal with for the past 4 years?
And you love it.
I loved it, yeah. 5 years, actually. No, 4. I
4.
forget. What's important to know is that what was a haphazard attempt to get some kind of role-playing game started during the pandemic has turned into this, a 4-year-long campaign, which a good part of it has been now uploaded to YouTube and to a channel that seems to be making its steps, and that I have to thank Gabby for pushing me to record these. We celebrated the beginning of the last episode on the 18th of June. That was the date of the very first video went up 4 years ago. So that's something. So thank you to you for making all of this possible, making all of this happen. And to those watching, if you've made it this far, congratulations. That's a lot of time that we have taken from you. I hope that you enjoyed it. And just know that this is not the last time that we'll see these characters. Gale, Heinrich, Sorsha, and Vroon will most likely return in some form or another for one-shots, cameos. Yes, because for any ongoing campaign, your characters are now mine. Careful with that voice. We might get strike. Anyways, so just so you understand for the rest, we will be taking a break over July. We will not be recording then. We will start most likely beginning of August with the session 0 for the next campaign, the next storyline. New characters, new story, same group. We will be starting Wild Beyond the Witchlight. with some returning characters
Hell yeah.
and some new ones. So, we will see you then. Enjoy the summer. Stay safe. And there's plenty of other things to listen on the channel. So,
And drink water.
you drink water, yes.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Have fun. That's all we can actually tell you to do. Have fun. That's a GM's order. Bye, guys. See you soon.